All right, strap in, folks, because we're diving headfirst into Hard Knocks this time. A brand new league dreamt up by, well, a user named Swag. And guess what? We're going to break it down in like 15 minutes, just the essentials from the league settings and what Progression Football's been spitting out live.
Okay, 15 minutes. You think we can cover all this?
Oh, we'll make it work. It's all about efficiency, right?
Let's record.
You know, for those listeners who value their time, so think big picture stuff. What are the rules? Who are the players we should be watching? And how do you win this thing?
All right, challenge accepted. So Hard Knocks, it's a private league, invite only, on Progression Football, of course.
Meaning
Meaning you're choosing your competition. No randoms messing things up.
So it's curated. I like that. But hold on, the players themselves, they're randomly generated.
Yep. Level playing field.
Wow, so no drafting the usual suspects. Got to get creative with strategy here.
Oh, absolutely. Especially with that $220 million salary cap looming over you.
Oh, right. The salary cap. So we got to think money moves right from the start. Can't just draft based on like potential. Got to look at contracts too.
100%. And get this, Hard Knocks is set to hard mode.
Hard mode. What's that, like hardcore?
All player OVRs, those overall ratings, they're hidden.
No way. So you're telling me we're going in blind? Just vibes and potential?
Pretty much. High risk, high reward. Could find a diamond in the rough or strike up big time. Scouting just got real important.
Intense. All right, so Hard Knocks is already shaping up to be, well, tough. But what about the teams themselves? Give me the rundown.
32 teams, each with their own name, and get this, their own expectations, like win now or rebuilding.
Ooh, so each team's got its own storyline going on. That's cool. But wouldn't those win now teams be like tempted to spend all their cash right away and then boom, salary cap issues?
You'd think so, right? Got to balance those short-term wins with long-term sustainability.
Makes sense. Now, I keep hearing about this culture match thing. What's the deal with that?
All right, so culture match is how well the coach vibes with the team, their personalities. The Houston Coyotes, they've got a whopping 40%, highest in the league.
Whoa, 40%. So
Wow.
basically, if the match is high, players buy into the coach's system, they're all on the same page. Makes sense. But what if it's like the opposite? Bad match.
It's definitely something to watch. Might not be full-blown sabotage, but, miscommunication, bad vibes on the field. Could lead to some upsets, that's for sure.
Okay, so we've got hidden player ratings, tight budgets, and this whole culture thing going on.
Yeah.
But what about the coaches themselves? Spill the tea.
Oh, they're not all created equal, that's for sure. Each team has a head coach, each with their own level of experience. Then you've got their culture styles like aggressive, professional, or strategic. And on top of that, they've got these unique OVR boosts and dev boosts.
Wait, so it's not just about the players. The coach can actually make them better or worse.
Oh yeah, big time. These boosts can change the game for a player's development. For example, Morgan Buchanan, coaching the Los Angeles Griffins, he's got a plus 26 OVR boost.
That's insane. Does that mean he could turn a, nobody into a star?
Potentially. It all comes down to how he uses those boosts and, spots the hidden talent.
This is getting really interesting. So we've got these hidden ratings, the salary cap, the culture match mystery, and coaches who can basically level up their players. Tell me more.
Well, there's one more thing. All these coaches were just hired, right before season 1 kicked off.
So their legacies are totally up in the air. What impact are they going to have on their teams? This is getting juicy.
Oh, yeah. This is where it gets good. We're just scratching the surface here.
Okay, I'm hooked. Let's keep digging.
Let's shift gears for a moment and talk about those teams that might be feeling the salary cap squeeze.
Ooh, yeah. The salary cap, that $220 million limit, it's the ultimate reality check, right?
Yeah.
Especially with these hidden OVRs. You could end up with a roster full of potential, but not enough cash to sign them all.
Exactly. And some teams are starting in a tougher spot than others. The Green Bay Wolverines, for example, have only about $1 million in cap space.
$1 million.
That's going to severely limit their options.
That's barely enough for a decent backup quarterback in this league. They're going to have to make some tough decisions, maybe even trade away some valuable players just to free up space.
It's a risky strategy, especially in hard mode. Trading away known quantities for, unknown potential could backfire spectacularly.
Yeah, they're walking a tightrope for sure. But they're not the only ones feeling the pinch, right?
You've got the Indianapolis Dragons with just under $14 million in cap space. Not a lot of wiggle room if they want to make a splash in free agency or extend a key player.
See, this is what I find fascinating. They're a win-now team. But that limited cap space almost forces them to play the long game.
Right.
They can't just throw money at the problem.
It's a classic dilemma. Do they sacrifice short-term gains for long-term stability, or do they go all in and hope for the best? Their approach to the salary cap could make or break their season.
It's like they're playing hard mode, both on the field and in the front office. What about some of the other teams? Are there any that are in a particularly good position?
Teams like the Chicago Berserkers and the Kansas City Natives have a bit more breathing room with less than $20 million in cap space.
Okay, so it's not all doom and gloom.
They're not exactly rolling in dough, but they've got enough flexibility to make some strategic moves.
Okay, so it's not all doom and gloom. Some teams have a bit more wiggle room to work with, but even then, they can't afford to be reckless. Every dollar counts in this league.
You got it. This is where those front office skills really come into play. It's not just about scouting and drafting, it's about financial savvy, knowing how to stretch every dollar.
All right, so we've got some teams living large, some scraping by, and everything in between. But back to the game itself, we've got all these different coaching styles out there. Aggressive, professional, strategic. Which one do you think has the edge in a league like Hard Knocks?
That's a great question. And there's no easy answer. Each style has its own advantages and disadvantages, especially with those hidden RVRs.
Okay, let's break it down. Aggressive coaches. They're all about high risk, high reward plays, right? Big trades, risky draft picks, going for it on fourth down. Does that work when you don't know what your players are truly capable of?
It's a gamble, for sure. An aggressive coach could potentially uncover a hidden superstar and, ride that wave to victory. But they could also just as easily crash and burn.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. What about professional coaches? They seem like the steady, reliable type, right?
Yeah.
Focus on fundamentals, build a solid team. Do they thrive in this kind of unpredictable environment?
Professional coaches might struggle with the lack of information in hard mode. Their strength lies in maximizing known talent, but they might be hesitant to take those big swings that could uncover a hidden gem.
But they're playing it safe, which might not be the best strategy in this league. What about the strategic coaches? They're the chess masters, right? Always thinking 3 steps ahead. Do they have the edge in Hard Knocks?
Strategic coaches could excel in this environment. They're adaptable, analytical, able to adjust their game plan based on the information they have, even if it's limited. They'll likely thrive on the challenge of hard mode.
So they're the ones to watch, the ones who can figure out the puzzle, even with missing pieces.
They have the potential, but it all depends on their execution. Even the best strategy can fail if it's not implemented effectively.
Right. You still need the right players, the right chemistry, and a little bit of luck. It's not just about X's and O's, it's about the human element, too.
Exactly. And that's what makes Hard Knocks so fascinating. It's a complex interplay of strategy, talent, and sheer chance. And with those hidden OVRs, the element of chance is even greater. It's going to be a wild ride, that's for sure.
So we've got aggressive coaches rolling the dice, professional coaches sticking to the fundamentals, and strategic coaches trying to outsmart the system. It's a clash of styles, a battle of wits, and we're all here for it.
And don't forget, the coaches' OVR and dev boosts, those can be game changers, especially in hard mode. A coach with high boosts can potentially elevate a team beyond its perceived talent level.
Yeah, those boosts are like cheat codes, but only if you know how to use them effectively. You still need to find the right players and put them in the right positions to succeed.
And that's where the scouting and drafting become even more critical. In a league where you can't fully assess a player's talent, those early decisions can make or break your season.
It's like a high-stakes poker game where you're betting on potential, not certainty. And that's what makes it so thrilling.
Absolutely. And with those hidden OVRs, the stakes are even higher. Every draft pick, every trade, every coaching decision is a gamble.
Okay, I think we've covered just about everything there is to cover in Hard Knocks. We've talked about the league settings, the teams, the coaches, the salary cap, and those pesky hidden player OVRs. But there's one more thing I want to touch on before we wrap things up.
What's up?
The community, the fans, the people who make this league come alive. Hard Knocks isn't just a game, it's an experience. It's about sharing the highs and lows, the triumphs and disappointments, with a group of people who share your passion for football.
You're absolutely right. The community is what makes this whole thing worthwhile. It's the trash talk in the forums, the debates about draft picks, the celebrations after a big win. It's the connections we make, the friendships we forge that make Hard Knocks so special.
Exactly. And in a league as challenging and unpredictable as this one, that sense of community is even more important. We need each other to bounce ideas off of, to commiserate with, and to celebrate those hard-fought victories.
It's about more than just winning or losing. It's about the journey, the shared experience, the camaraderie that comes from competing together.
And in Hard Knocks, where the rules are different and the stakes are higher, that journey is going to be even more memorable.
It's going to be a wild one, that's for sure. But as we wrap up this whole Hard Knocks deep dive, let's shift focus a bit to you guys, the listeners.
Right. We just bombarded you with all this info. League settings, the teams, salary cap craziness. So what's it all mean for you as you're about to jump into this brand new league?
Think of it this way. We gave you the map, but you get to be the explorer. Hard Knocks, it's not just watching. It's about creating your own path,
Okay, I'm digging that. So not just watching from the sidelines. It's about getting in the game. But how do you actually turn all this intel into a winning strategy?
That's where the fun is. You could become like a super fan. A team like the Houston Coyotes with their crazy high culture match, ride that wave.
Or you become the salary cap genius.
Yeah.
Hunting for those bargains, finding players nobody else sees the value in.
Exactly. Or maybe you go full-on talent scout, obsessed with finding those hidden gems, those players who could become superstars.
I can already picture it. Buried in stats, looking for those little hints, those signs that scream future MVP. It's like detective work almost.
Perfect analogy. And with this hard mode thing, you're not just playing against other people, you're taking on the system itself.
Whoa, so you got to outsmart the algorithm, basically.
Yep. Find those cracks where the hidden talent's hiding.
So it's strategy on a whole other level. Not just about the plays on the field, but about understanding potential, seeing what others miss.
Exactly. And that's what makes Hard Knocks so damn exciting. It's a challenge, a test. Your scouting skills, how you handle the money, how you adapt when everything's up in the air.
Okay, so we went from deep diving the league to deep diving into ourselves.
Yeah.
But how do we actually, DO something with this? What's the first move?
Explore. Dive into those team pages on Progression Football. Check out the coaches. Dig deep into those player stats. Don't just skim, really get into it.
So immerse yourself, get a feel for the whole thing, and then what? Find the players, the teams that just click with you.
Exactly. Find your thing, your area expertise. And when you've done your homework, don't keep it to yourself. Jump into those forums, start talking, debate with other players. That shared knowledge in the Hard Knocks community, it's a huge advantage.
Like a massive brain trust, right? Everyone's got their own take, their own theories, their own scouting secrets. And together, maybe we crack the code of hard mode. Find those hidden gems.
That's what's so cool about a league like this. Collaborative, but competitive. Always changing.
So as we're wrapping up this deep dive, one last piece of advice for our listeners. Don't just play Hard Knocks. Experience it. Let it challenge you, surprise you, and reward you with the thrill of discovering something new.
And remember, it's not just about winning or losing. It's that journey, that connection with other players, that shared passion that makes Hard Knocks more than a game. It's a community, a story waiting to be written.
So strap in, folks, because Hard Knocks is about to kick off, and it's going to be one hell of a ride.